Oh, hello. Today is Friday, July 11th, and this is a lesson I'm recording for Gare 3 for the super intensive July winter lessons classes. Okay, so we are officially beginning the Unit 2. Unit 2. I didn't want to leave. That's the title of our unit. I didn't want to leave. Open your books, please, to page 18. Then on page 18, you're going to see a couple of illustrations, two pictures. One is the map of South America. So we have a map there. And the map has important words for our lesson today. Let me show you. I'm going to use this board. And do you guys know the difference between this word? What is the difference between equator and Ecuador? Ecuador. Equator, Ecuador. So equator is the line that divides our planet into sections. The bottom section, we call it the southern hemisphere, and above the equator, it's the northern hemisphere. So we have two hemisphere divided by the line. It's an invisible line, imaginable, and in geography, we use this line, and it helps to study meteorology or climate, climate aspects, or we learn even the social aspects or political aspects of countries that they are located in both sections. And Ecuador is a country. Ecuador is a country, yes. And the what is the capital of Ecuador? Good job. Yes, it is Quito. So Quito is the capital of Ecuador. So Ecuador is a country that is Spanish spoken country, is a Spanish spoken country. People there are Ecuadorian, and they have their currency, if I'm not mistaken, is dollar, is Ecuadorian dollar. Yes. So let's number the lines of this text. Global Student Adventures. This is a blog post of a traveler, and she's a young traveler, and she took this trip for her summer vacation, and it was a pretty interesting travel that she followed some of the steps from what is the name of that scientist? Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin went to Galapagos Island, and we have already studied about him. So maybe she visited the islands, the archipelago that this scientist had done it. So, number the lines. We have there 32 lines. Let me share the reading. Okay, so here we are. I started numbering. I started numbering from this line. I'd never traveled outside. So no, 1, 2, 3, 4, that added up to 32 lines. Okay. So we don't count this title. So 32 lines. And I'm going to share the audio. The audio is 108.
Page 18.
Yes.
Exercise 1. GSA. Global Student Adventures. The Galapagos. Conservation Volunteering. The famous scientist Charles Darwin wrote On the Origin of Species after he visited the Galapagos. What will these amazing islands inspire you to do? Program details. Booking information. Reviews. Most popular review by Alex Maynard, 16. Your experience.
I'd never traveled outside the States before I went to Ecuador. When I got on the airplane, I was feeling so scared. I wondered if I'd made a mistake. But the tour guides and other GSA volunteers were all so friendly that I soon relaxed. And all the volunteers stayed with kind, welcoming local families. By the time my vacation ended, I'd made friends for life. We ate out nearly every day, mostly seafood. It was probably the second best food I'd ever eaten. Hey, I'm a New Yorker, and nothing beats a New York-style pizza. We spent 5 days working and 3 days going hiking, swimming, and sunbathing. On work days, we counted iguanas for a population survey, cleaned pools at the giant tortoise center, and collected trash from the beaches. It wasn't all fun. One day we saw a dead penguin while we were working on the beach, which was very sad. The tragedy happened because the bird had eaten some plastic. Please, everyone, think about what you do with your trash. It kills. Try not to use plastic bags and volunteer to clean up your nearest beach. Galapagos penguins are the only penguins that live north of the equator. Sadly, they're endangered. There aren't many left. Our guide Carlos told us that thousands of animal species become extinct every year. That shocked me. As soon as I returned from my trip, I joined a wildlife charity that helps save animals.
Favorite part of the trip?
I loved working with the giant tortoises. I took a lot of pictures. Carlos took this one of me when I wasn't looking. I hadn't realized that tortoises could be so big. Some weigh 250 kilograms. Before the government introduced a ban, people had hunted giant tortoises for their meat.
Any other comments?
The vacation was too short. I cried while I was saying goodbye. I didn't want to leave.
Okay, so here we've got to identify these expressions here. Find these words and check their meaning. So, the meaning for seafood is any animal that lives underwater and especially seawater. So we call it seafood. For example, shrimp, fish, crab, lobster. So any animal that lives underwater, we call it seafood. Sometimes it's a normal thing, especially if you are into cooking or if you want to be like a very important chef. So they might say, okay, we have seafood, we have fish, and we have seafood. So those are distinctive ways to separate this type of species. But yeah, seafood could be, to my opinion, fish or crab or shrimp or lobster. So we have seafood as in crustaceous and also fish. So seafood. Iguana. Let's see if we find iguana here. Iguana is a very popular species. Hold on. Sunglasses here. Penguins. Counting the iguanas. Here. On work days, we counted iguanas for a population survey. A survey, it's a research. A survey is a research concerning statistics, numbers. So yeah, they counted iguanas to check if the population is growing or diminishing. And they are very popular in Ecuador, even in urban areas. So if you visit Ecuador or if you visit Peru as well, I guess, uh, those countries have iguanas just as popular as doves or um, pigeons. Yes. You know that we see common birds. We have, for example, uh, robins are pardais. So we see these animals commonly in every place in Venezuela. In Venezuela, we also have something that is funny. It's a very talkative bird. It's greenish green, and it looks like a parakeet, but it's a mix of parakeet and not a parrot, but I was gonna say the other kind of like an animal that a bird that has the curvy beak. So it's called taquara. I think it's taquara. Taquara. Yes, I guess it's called taquara. Maritaca, sorry, not taquara. Maritaca. Taquara is something else. Taquara is it's vegetation. And maritaca is the kind of bird that chirps so loud, and there are a bunch of them in our area. So yeah, so maritacas are as popular as iguanas are popular in Ecuador. Okay, the other one is population. Okay, we have similar word in Portuguese. Species as well. An extinct, yeah. An extinct or in danger. We have species that are in danger and species that are extinct. Extinct, that means they are gone and we cannot recover that species. Or in danger of extinction, there are possibilities, politics, decisions that the population, culturally speaking, or even scientists, they have to work along and make the effort of not making that species to go away. So in danger of extinction and extinct. Yeah. So guys, I want you to highlight the sentences that I'm going to highlight in this screen, okay? So highlight in your book. Remember, you are on page 18. So please highlight this sentence here. I never traveled before I went to Ecuador. Next sentence, highlight this one. I made friends for life. I've made friends for life. Also highlight this one. Um, that penguins. It wasn't all fun. One day we saw that penguin while we were working on the beach, which was very sad. The tragedy happened because the bird had eaten a key. Here, highlight this sentence. The tragedy happened because the bird had eaten some plastic. Then there's another one. It's not the last one, but one before the last. As soon as I hear. As soon as I'd returned from my trip, I joined a wildlife charity that helps save animals. And there are two more. This one too, highlight this one. I hadn't realized that tortoises could be so big. And finally, highlight this one. People had hunted giant tortoises for their meat. I'm gonna highlight them. Okay, this one better. Before the government, yeah, the sentence is it starts from here actually. So let's do the real deal, the correct way. Before the government introduced a ban, people had hunted giant tortoises for their meat. Some students ask me the meaning of this word ban. Ban, it's when you prohibit an action from society, and that is dictated by a law or a bill or something from constitution or from a local law. So we have those powerful people, such as Congress people and senators. They are people of the government. They are the government professionals, not professionals. They are called the volunteer people that get paid to be volunteers. So that is another topic, but what it means is they are voted to be there. And when they are chosen, they decide on some bills, they decide on some laws. So when we say about banning things, that means the government is saying, don't do that anymore. For example, in our country, people are not allowed to be allowed to. People are not allowed to have wildlife animals as pets. So, can I have a cobra? Can I have a jaguar as a domestic cat? You may, but you need to prove that you need that animal to be your pet. Maybe because you are a scientist or because you are taking care of other members of that species because you are a biologist. So obviously, there are exceptions, and you may have these animals as pets, but that is not a commonplace, okay? It's not common sense. Not everyone can have wildlife species as pets, okay? Because the government decided on banning that. And back in the days, people would eat tortoise. Yes, they would eat tortoise, they would eat turtles, yes. I don't know about marine turtles, like water turtles or aqua turtles. I don't know. The ones that can swim. They live, their habitat is underwater. But tortoises, they used to be part of some Brazilian families' menu. I remember when I lived in Rio Grande do Sul back in that time. A student of mine, she's kind of old. Yeah, she's elderly. She's an elderly, and she had a beautiful collection of old magazines. And those magazines were called Cruzeiro magazine. And when she gave me the collection, because she said, "I have a collection of Cruzeiro magazines. Would you like to have? Because they are historical and they might have some value." Okay, sure. I didn't actually sell them. I chopped them, I cut them, and I made art from those magazines. That's me. So I noticed the section of recipes. There were recipes on how to cook delicious tortoises. Yeah, I think people could buy tortoise at a butcher shop. Butchery shop. Butchers are açougueiros, and butchery shop or butchery, it's açougue. So yeah, you could buy the meat from tortoises from butcher shops. Amazing, isn't it? That's crazy. All right. So now let's answer this question. What rating do you think Alex gave her trip? Choose between 1 and 5 stars. According to Alex's review, because this is her review on this trip, I never traveled outside of there, but the tour guides, I didn't want to leave. Yeah, she said that she didn't want to leave this place. So it was, she had the time of her life. I would say 5 stars. She would definitely give 5 stars. Okay, the questions now. Use your notebook, please, to answer these questions according to the review, according to Alex's review on this global student adventure. Question 1. What was sorry. What's the best food Alex has ever eaten? 2, how many days did Alex spend on the Galapagos? 3, what does Alex ask her readers to do? 4, how many animal species disappeared last year? 5, what negative comment does Alex make about her trip? Did she make any negative comment? Maybe she did, of course. We have a question about it. So pause the video, work on your notebook, answering these questions, and I'm going to share the answers in a minute, okay? Take care, guys. Bye for now, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, so now I'm going to share with you guys the answer. The answer key of the questions. Okay. So first question is, what was the best food Alex has ever eaten? So the answer is New York style pizza. She says, um, then we have how many days did Alex spend on the Galapagos? She spent 8 days there. Let me point out where she says about the pizza. Here, we ate out nearly every day, mostly seafood. It was probably the second best food I'd ever eaten. Hey, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker, and nothing beats a New York style pizza. And she spent 8 days there. Let's see. We spent 5 days working and 3 days going hiking, swimming, and sunbathing. So 5 plus 3 equals 8. So yeah, she spent 8 days there. 3. What does Alex ask her readers to do? She asked them not to use plastic bags.
Não sei se
Thank you.
se puder perguntar para ela que cobrança, se ela puder mandar, porque deve ser alguma outra coisa. Eu não mandei cobrança para ela.
Okay. She asked them not to use plastic bags and to volunteer to clean up their nearest beach. And 4, how many animal species disappeared last year? Thousands of animal species disappeared last year. Let's see where it says that. Galapagos penguins. Mhm. Well, probably because when she mentioned the survey, we counted iguanas. It wasn't all fun. One day we saw that penguin. We were work. The tragedy happened because the bird had eaten. Please, everyone, think about not to use plastic volunteers to clean up the Galapagos penguins. Here, Carlos told us that thousands of animal species become extinct every year. That's pretty sad. Okay, and 5, what negative comment does Alex make about her trip? That would be the vacation was too short. Okay. Vacation was too short. That was hard to answer. I don't know if I would be able to answer from that because it's not a criticism. It's more like a sarcastic comment on it. Oh, okay. But anyways, now guys, I'm gonna introduce you to a verb tense that is called perfect, past perfect, because this lesson is entirely based on how to talk about vacation experiences or past experiences, how to tell stories about things that happened to us. So I'm going to stop recording because I'm going to arrange the whiteboard and I'm going to make this whiteboard work. Okay, so I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, guys, so please jump to page 21. And on page 21, right at the top of the page, today's date, which is July 11th. It's a Friday. And at the top of the page, right here, we have this title called Past Perfect. And this is a new verb tense. And according to Got It, following Got It books and Got It series, this is the last verb tense that we must learn. Okay? It's called past perfect. Get your notebooks open and out there, pen and pencil, and let's dive into this new verb tense. Okay, in order to fully learn the past perfect tense and the highlighted expressions, the highlighted sentences, not expressions, well, the highlighted sentences from the text from Alex's review. Those were sentences that contained clauses that were in past perfect structure. So what is past perfect. How do we form this verb tense? Because it is a verb tense. But what is it for? And how useful it is to learn about past perfect. So I'm gonna share with you guys a funny video that is gonna teach us about past perfect.
Past perfect.
Okay, so now let's talk about this structure, how to form a past perfect sentence. So it's pretty easy. Look at that. The auxiliary is had. Had, not have, not has, but had. So the negative form, hadn't, hadn't. And so had is the auxiliary. The main verb, we get it from the third column of the verb list if the verb is irregular. If the verb is regular, we just add ed at the end of the verb. So, for example, eu havia aprendido. I had learned. Eu tinha escutado. I had heard. E nós, sujeito nós tínhamos descoberto. We had found out. Eles tinham viajado. They had traveled. Ela tinha comprado. She had bought. Ele tinha consumido. He had eaten. Ele tinha comido. He had eaten. So I had, you had. They had, he had, she had, it had. Had is okay for any subject. And of course, there is the reduction. So the contraction with I and had, it becomes just I'd, apostrophe and D, just like as would contraction. I know it may look confusing, but no, it is not confusing, okay? So I would, I'd, I had, I'd. You would, you'd. You had, you'd. He had, he'd. She had, she'd. It had, it'd. We had, we'd. They had, they'd. So that's how it works.
Finished actions before something in the past. Yesterday, when I arrived home, she had already cooked dinner. She hadn't set the table. After you had done.
After you had done your homework, depois que você havia feito o seu dever de casa, depois, ou seja, you had done your homework first. The past perfect. We always need the parallel of two actions and both in the past. But both actions are not simultaneously. They happen in different timings. So one action is the oldest and the other action is close to the latest, to the real time. So for example, when I started this lesson, when I started recording this lesson, I had already set my computer. I had already set I had already programmed the lesson. I had already planned the lesson. So I had planned the lesson so that I could start recording this unit 2 class. So we have two actions in the past. One is older and the other one is closer to their reality. So the older action receives the past perfect structure. So something had happened, algo havia acontecido para que a outra coisa acontecesse. Mas não que uma coisa interage na outra em termos de consequência, nada a ver. It's about timing. It's about this is older action and this is a more updated action. Ok? Uma ação mais antiga e uma ação mais próxima do tempo presente. More, it's closer to the present time, but both are in the past.
Your homework. I set the table. When my father arrived home, we had already eaten. We hadn't waited for him. When I switched on the TV, the news had just finished. The film hadn't started yet. Before the film ended, they had fallen asleep. They hadn't seen the end. When I went to bed, I hadn't done my homework. I had forgotten. When I arrived home, had she cooked dinner?
Okay, so when we ask questions using past perfect, the auxiliary that travels, that goes before the subject, we always do that when we have yes or no questions with verb to be, modal verbs, and have or has and had as well. So, had you done? Had you cooked dinner? Had you called me? Você havia me ligado? Você tinha preparado o jantar? Had you? Had you answered this exercise? Had you answered this question before? Você havia respondido essa pergunta antes? Had you seen this film before? Você havia assistido esse filme antes? Então eu pergunto, had you seen this film after seeing the whole film? So the action of watching the film is gone, it's past. But I have I don't know, the feeling, the idea that probably you had seen it before because it seemed that you knew where the jump scares were, you knew the plot twist. So I had the feeling that you had seen this movie before.
Yes, she had.
Yes, I had. Yes, you had. Yes, they had. Yes, she had. No, 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 I hadn't. Wrong conclusion. No, she hadn't. No, they hadn't. So, yes, I had. No, you hadn't. Yes, he had. No, she hadn't. No, we hadn't. Yes, she had. So, yeah, had or hadn't for short answers.
No, she hadn't. When my father arrived home, had we already eaten dinner? Yes, we had. When I switched on the TV, had the news just finished? Yes, it had. Before the film ended, had they fallen asleep? Yes, they had. When I went to bed, had I done my homework? No, I haven't. After, before,
After, before, when. After, before, and when. After, later. So, bear with me. Nós temos sempre o paralelo. We always have the parallel of two actions, and both in the past. Past actions. Uma ação mais passada do que a outra. Então, a gente vai usar o after para dar a ideia de que uma aconteceu depois da outra, ou before, uma aconteceu antes da outra, ou when, uma aconteceu quando a outra foi completada. So, yes, after, before, and when are key words for past perfect.
when.
Already, just and yet as well.
Ready? Just yet. Cook, set, done, eaten, finished, begun, fallen, forgotten.
By the way, forgotten is written wrong there. It's forgotten, T-T-E-N, not T-T-O-N. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Past perfect.
Okay, so what I want from you guys as homework, and I'm gonna send you the answer key on Monday, okay? I want you to do page 21, okay? Let me share page 21 with you guys. And I'm gonna explain each exercise, okay? There. Let me. Okay, so as we jumped to page 21, and of course, we are gonna go over vocabulary, this page that you see over here. We're gonna do that next week, don't worry. I'm just going to, because I presented today this verb tense, so I want you to do this page entirely, okay? This is page 21. So the first practice is the think box. We have two examples. It was the best food I'd eaten from Alex's review text. I hadn't realized that tortoises could be so big. So you have to fill in the blank here in order to come up with the best rule, the main rules for past perfect. The contracted form of had is blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to correct it next Monday. Exercise 1. Complete the story with the correct past perfect form of the verbs in parentheses. Let's see. The verb here is book. Book is a verb, which means to make a reservation. So tell us about your nightmare vacations. Vacations sometimes are awesome, sometimes are a disaster. So this is an example of a nightmare. Nightmare means pesadelo. So nightmare vacation, umas férias, pesadelo. So tell us about your nightmare vacations. We'll publish the best ones. Nico's nightmare, that's the title. We had booked a week's vacation to Hawaii a long time ago, and blah, 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 blah. You guys have to use past perfect only in order to finalize, in order to complete this vacation experience. Now we have the parallel of past perfect and simple past. Well, simple past form is for the action that is closest to the reality, closest to what is happening today, is closer to today's timing. See, let's check the example. The penguin died. The penguin died because it had eaten some plastic. What happened first? The penguin had eaten plastic, and then the penguin died. So the penguin died is simple past. The other action receives the past perfect. So past perfect always is the oldest action, the older among the two past actions. Okay. So sorry. Oopsie doopsie, sorry. So now number 2, you have to circle the best structure. So always figure out, try to understand which is older, which is closer to the latest situation. Let's check the example. I didn't watch the movie because I had seen it before. I had seen the movie first, and so I decided not to watch the film. Number 3, yes, complete the story with the correct past perfect or simple past. Both verb tenses are mixed. And 4, rewrite the sentences in the past perfect and the simple past. The finished section, you don't have to do it, okay? So let me reinforce. The homework is page 21, okay? And I'll see you guys on Monday with the answer key from this lesson, from this homework, okay? And I'll see you soon. Take care.